Welcome back into Zach's franchise. In today's video, we are checking in on the Kentucky Lions. We're working through the 2066 season, now nearing the end of June. So let's take a look. We left off at the end of May, right before this Ontario series. So our offense has been scuffling. The pitching hasn't been living up to its potential so far this year. And really, the end of May was very similar. Didn't score against Ontario in the first two games of the series. Finally got the win on getaway day. You'll see a similar trend here against Ohio. Took the first two and finally won on Sunday. Then it seems like we finally were able to shake some things up a little bit. And, that's not because I left the team alone. I really felt like we were underperforming and needed to make some moves to change some things up. So we can jump into June and lost a couple series in June so far, but we have strung a lot of wins together. So kind of won the middle of the series game here, 5-0 against California. And then we're able to build some momentum, winning all three against Alabama. And another series loss to Maryland before sweeping Georgia, taking 2 out of 3 from New Jersey, and then sweeping New York. So finally a little bit of momentum. We cleared that 500 winning percentage by a couple games over the last week. And, I'm feeling like we're in a lot better place. Even though we're 5 games back, we could take a look at the standings here. We are in that second wild card spot. The Patriot League South has been the stronger division this season so far. We're tied with North Carolina right there in second place. So, based on how we started the season, I'm really excited to be where we are right now. If we take a look at the team info and the splits by month, in April, 520 winning percentage. In May, scuffled 42% of our games were wins. And finally in June, we're off to a really nice start. Hopefully we finish the month in a similar fashion. But we've jumped all the way up to second in runs scored here. And then runs allowed, still kind of hovering around fifth, middle of the pack. But I made some moves that will hopefully increase our defensive efficiency, that zone rating as well. Still got to work on those strikeouts over here on the offensive side. So, 9-1 in our last 10 games. Maybe it's just coincidence. Maybe it's some of the moves that I was able to make. So let's kind of check in. So we did make quite a few moves. This page right here is a little bit cluttered, but it's the best way to kind of see an overview of the things I've done. I did a really deep dive this last week on the minor league system, getting people to the right level. It had been from the start of this season, I've been letting the AI control what level players are at, but I really wanted to clean house, make sure that everyone who needed to was getting the best number at bats for their development. And so here's kind of a list of what we did. Let's start here. We already did the draft in the last episode, released a couple of players, and then promoted a bunch of different players out of rookie league. Maybe they'd been playing there for too long, things like that. So you'll see quite a few releases and promotions here. We traded for Kurt Woodard, as you found out in the last video. Woodard came to us when he was struggling with a wrist injury. So he was, just still able to play, but he wasn't playing very well when he had that injury. When he first came over, he came up and played, went 0 for 3 in his first 3 games when he starts in the AFBL here. That's when we called him up. So first 3 games, no hits. Then he finally went 1 for 4 in his last one, but he was hitting 071, 188 OBP, just not really being effective. So sat him down. The actual length of the injury was listed as unknown. So I figured let's put him on the injured list, let him get right, fully healthy. And so I did. You can see he sat about 10 days in game time here. And then also, didn't really get off to a hot start yet. So we are still trying to get him right. He hasn't been the reason for our success. He's gotten on base via the walk a couple times. He does have 2 total home runs, but you can see where his 434 OPS isn't ideal. So we did make the trade for him. He's 29 years old. But with these ratings, I feel like he can play so much better than he is. He's got no major splits. He's going to be just fine against righties and lefties. I've got faith in the process for him. He just needs to work through this. And he is going to be a DH. He's not going to provide much value. On the defensive end, looks like he got all his homers out in AAA. He's got 16 there. So hopefully he can turn things around and start hitting a little bit. So a couple other things that we did. We sent 2 draft picks to New Mexico for Bubba Combs. Bubba Combs is a defense first shortstop, infielder, plays a lot of different positions, really elite at second and third base, above average at shortstop. But what I really liked about him, as opposed to some of my other defensive wizards, he's got great speed and stealing ability, and then just an average bat. But he was doing well down in AAA for Oklahoma City in the New Mexico organization. So I called him up, let him start a couple games in Louisville, and then brought him up to Kentucky. So he hasn't been hitting yet either. But I'm hoping that he can pan out and provide some value. He is on the major league roster for now. We did send Chris Gunther down. He was playing first base and third base a little bit for us. But so far this season, in 118 plate appearances, over 29 starts, just not being very effective. 75 OPS plus, not what you want with a guy that's not going to offer you any value on defense, and no speed, no stealing. So at 34 years old, he's probably not going to make a return to the show unless we have a major injury. With his power only being 5, he doesn't have enough of the peripheral skills to make his low power worth it. So that's what happened at the end of May, where we made our changes. Jump into June, made a couple more changes. We traded Edwin Orduno away to North Carolina. He's been in AAA and AA for us this season. He's gonna be a bullpen arm, it looks like, in North Carolina. At 28 years old, I feel like he wasn't too far away from the decline that some of my major pitchers will have, so there's not really going to be a ton of opportunity for him. So I snagged Francisco Baez. On the way back, he's got 9 outfield range, just 23 years old, 10 speed, stealing, base running is all good. He's not going to strike out a ton with that 7 rating. This is the type of player that I want to make sure that he's providing value defensively and then also not striking out. That avoid Ks works really well with speed to beat out some of those infield hits. So he's split the year. He was in AAA in North Carolina's system. Wasn't having a ton of success there, 69 OPS plus. He was still providing some of that war on the defensive side. So I decided to start him. The game actually started him in rookie league when he got traded for, so he got a couple of games down there. But I set him back on the right path now, down in AA. He's doing really well in his first 6 starts, 10 hits. He's walking a little bit despite his low I rating, but a 128 OPS plus and then 138 WRC plus with some of those stolen bases. He's 3 for 4. We made another trade to grab Carlos Porras. Something that's interesting about him is when I traded for him, I was just looking at his ratings and forgot to look what hand he threw with. So I was going to maybe try him out at shortstop, even though these ratings are a little low, just to see. So I did switch that. I haven't changed it back yet. So I'm curious to see if he's got fielding stats here at the shortstop level. He's played just 1 game at shortstop. Didn't make any errors. Looks like the zone rating is a little low but very small sample size. So I might just play with that a little bit. If you check out his ratings, he's going to be a solid outfielder at any of the 3 positions. But 22 years old, kind of a guy that I didn't had to give up too much for. So we'll see. Maybe he could make the major league roster at some point. A bunch more releases. I added Mike Sailors. I brought him up to help with the pitchers a little bit. His catcher ability is a 9. Our backup, Ernie Miller, was not doing super well with the 65 OPS plus, and then he's already 30 years old, only a 6 catcher ability. So I figured let's change it up, and so hopefully that's been part of the change that we've seen over the last few days. Another move that we made, we traded 2 picks to Minnesota for center fielder Carlos Marquez and also second baseman Sakimoto. So let's check them out. Sakimoto is a second baseman, really good hands, still kind of speedy at 29 years old, avoids strikeouts. So these guys, a lot of them I traded for not to necessarily come up and be an impact with the bat, but really I wanted to provide a lot of flexibility for our AI manager to move guys in and out, really take advantage of matchups, and then be able to slot guys in on defense whenever needed. So that trade was with Minnesota, and so it was a 3rd round and a 6th round pick headed the other way. Carlos Marquez was more the centerpiece of this deal, somebody who I could see playing center field for us for, maybe even a decade. If his contact rating can hold or maybe even increase just a little bit. I love the eye and avoid Ks with the speed, stealing, base running, and the defensive range and arm out there. A little bit of orange in the personality profile, but that's okay. His work ethic is just fine. It's normal. And so that's the one that I'm really most interested in. So he's off to a great start in Louisville. Our AAA squad, 8 stolen bases, 159 OPS plus. So it won't be long probably before we see him make an appearance in the big leagues. So that is kind of the trade moves that we made. One thing that we had to do, if you'll recall from last episode, Dan Miller was going to get a shot in the major leagues, and it did not go well. We'll put it at that. 6 games, a 9.82 ERA, gave up 4 homers in 7.1 innings, just 7 strikeouts, 4 walks, and so it was absolutely terrible. Everybody has a bad set of games every once in a while. You wonder how much his morale is affecting him. He's angry at the transaction because he prefers to be in the majors. I think his time here might be done. So when he was cut, I even got a message saying that the players appreciated cutting ties with him. So I don't need that kind of energy around the ball club. So I think it is time to go ahead and just release him. Maybe somebody else will grab him with that 999 ratings. They're outstanding, but I guess there's a reason he wasn't on a roster and I got him for free. So best of luck to him wherever he might go next, but maybe we can look back fondly someday on the brief stop he had in Kentucky. One of the exciting things is that Raul Arvilos is picking things up a little bit. A couple of really solid starts against Alabama. We won 2-1. He threw 8 innings, gave up just 1 run. Actually lost this 2-1 game to Maryland. 2 runs in 7 innings. His last time out against New York, complete game shutout, a 7-0 win. Struck out 11. So that ERA is dropping lower and lower by the start. His highest game score of the season so far they're at 86. So if we take a look, this is where we're at right now. Raul Arvilos, like we just talked about, 3.27 ERA. Aldinha doing great as well, 6-5. So some of his luck has been bad. He's been really good at preventing runs, but he's had losses like 4-1, 4-0, 4-3, 5-1. I guess that one, only 2 earned runs allowed. That one is on the bullpen and the offense a little bit. So he's been really good, but need people to play well around him. Morales is doing well, just fine, and Augustus, I think, outplaying his ratings in 15 starts, 2.79 ERA. He struck out 77 batters in 96 innings pitched, so he's doing a really good job limiting hard contact with that BABIP number down at 281. So want him to continue working. And then Mendelson, same exact thing, right? Outplaying his ratings a little bit. Just 8 starts for him, but even though that WAR is down there, he is eating some innings for us. Just 21 strikeouts and 54 innings pitched, but his BABIP is even lower. So maybe a little bit of luck with both the 4th and 5th starters. Hopefully they can keep riding that luck, though, all the way to the finish line. Finzer, 12 saves and 34 innings pitched. Hiro Koyama is back from the injured list. Hasn't made an appearance just yet, but he's had a stellar start to the season. Hopefully he can continue that, and he's ready to go. I did make some moves, put things into the manager's hands. I put the role as setup, 7th or later, for all 3 of these guys, and then give each of them a backup role to hopefully get them into the right spots. I really want to give my manager the ultimate flexibility to figure it out as he goes. Gaitan has been really good. Really, all 3 of these guys have ERAs down in the 1s. Marikel and Luis Ramirez are my middle guys, and then Mauro Sanchez if we need some length. And we'll go from there. Marikel, I think I'm actually going to throw him as a backup long reliever as well. So let's check out the lineups. Made some changes. Nick Annier, he was really struggling at the big league level, so I sent him down, and his OPS was up over 1 dot and then back down to 900, but I called him back up. He hasn't taken off quite yet, but I'm not going to play him full time. You can see some spaces in between his gameplay, so he's going to have to figure it out. He's good enough to play here, but he's going to have to earn it with his play. Hopefully he can bounce back. So this is what the lineup against righties looks like right now. We've got Chung leading off. Shanahan, Bermudez, Woodard. I'm going to hit him there 4th for a while, and just hopefully he can get things going. He's got 2 good hitters around him, and hopefully that can get him going, protect him a little bit. Van Stratton down at 7th. Keeping Swanson in there. I've got some options at third base if I need them with some of the trades that I made. I could play Combs there, but I want to try to get Swanson a few more at-bats and keep him going. OPS Plus is sitting at 100 right now, but he has some speed and stealing ability as well. So rounded out with Zarzicki. Batting runs, Kurt Woodard. Nope, that's at AAA. Chris Bermudez has been our best hitter. Brody Shanahan, Van Stratton right behind him, and Sinclair finally getting up there a little bit. His average all the way up to 331. He's been on a really good tear right now. Mini multi-hit games, 4-hit game here with 2 doubles. Not a ton of home run power, as you can see, but he's doing a great job putting the ball in play. OPS all the way up to 802. Woodard and Annier struggling, and then Zarzicki, we don't expect him to be great with the bat. 86 really is okay if he's going to provide value on defense. Chung could get a little bit better with his on base. He's only at 321, but I want to give him a chance too. Against lefties, we're throwing Mike Sailors in there with that catcher ability. He's going to strike out quite a bit, but maybe he'll take a few walks as well. And then we'll also put Combs in at third base against lefties. So that's the rundown. We've got Arizona coming up next, North Carolina and Pennsylvania to finish out June. And then a couple more series, Ohio, Alabama, and New York one more time before the All-Star break. To wrap up this episode, let's take a quick look around the league and some of the leaders. So 368 leads the league in batting average from Bob Nava. He's Colorado's first baseman. He's done really, really well this year. OPS plus up at 210. So not just average, he's got 20 home runs as well. So bright future ahead for him at 24 years old. A couple other guys hovering around 300 here. Joel Vazquez and Estevan Garcia, both up at 20 home runs, as well as Nava, so tied in second. But Washington has tons of power, a 9 power for Vazquez, 10 home run power for Garcia. And so they're, positioned well to lead the Frontier League in home runs. Vazquez driving in a lot, so is Nava. We see a lot of these same guys right up there at the top are being really impressive offensively. Let's check out OPS. Chris Morris, 20-year-old outfielder. He's making his major league debut season here. He's doing a nice job. 9 home runs, 180 OPS plus, and not too bad out there in the outfield. Right below him, Jonathan Weber, former 6th overall pick. Nice left-handed left fielder. Probably play some DH with that outfield range being so low. But yeah, he looks like he hasn't played the field since 2063. So he's solidly in that DH role for North Carolina. Anybody else? Kosaka, 23-year-old, young stud, 2nd overall pick back in 2060. So he's, one of the centerpieces of that North Carolina as well. Hopefully we can jump past them in the standings. We're tied up right now in 2nd place. Anything else? A bad record. Ken Huff, 114 strikeouts already, but he's got 15 home runs, maintaining a positive WAR despite missing the ball quite a bit. Let's see who's leading stolen bases. Oh, wow. We got quite a few guys up here, high 20s and 30. Tony Grimaldo from New York, 32-year-old, still stealing bases. He's got 926 career stolen bases. Last year finished with just 57 games played, so got 33 steals. But he's had seasons of 100 or more. Probably won't reach 1,000 this season, but I guess if he really goes off, he could have a chance. Hopefully he can stay healthy. That injury proneness has wrecked. Let's check out some of the pitching leaders. Mike Aviles doing a great job, 24-year-old right-hander out in Washington. He had a tremendous year last year, and really his rookie season. So 10.2 strikeouts per game, 1.21 ERA. Phil Adams, 25-year-old right-hander. He's throwing well, throws over 100 out of the sidearm slot as a righty. He was excellent last year, and repeat performance so far this season. That whip down at .72, pretty good. Let's see. Nathan Stone is leading the league in WAR for pitchers. He's got 16 starts. Despite the low ERA, he's having a tough time, 4-10. And one of the things about him is he's a 5th-round draft pick, 83rd overall. So every single team in the league had a chance to grab him, but didn't. Let's see. Let's check this out. When he was drafted back in 2058, yeah, it looked like he had 10.76, not too far off from where he's at right now, but that movement really made a big jump, which has made a big difference for him. He leads league in strikeouts. Arvilos, not too far behind, 147 strikeouts. Bernie Costello, 33-year-old, needs to work on that control, but he's striking out a lot of batters as well this season. So let me know what you're looking for in the rest of the league. We've got tons of baseball left this season. Sitting here on June 21st, we've got Ontario in the lead in the Patriot League North. Welcome to the new GM. He just joined the league, so we are full again. Everybody's controlled by a human. Ohio is leading our division. New Mexico out east in the Frontier League, and then Oregon on top. Washington right behind. So 2 wildcard teams per sub-league or Patriot League, Frontier League. You'll get 2 wildcard teams each way. So I think we're in a pretty good spot right now, but I will likely make another move or 2, hopefully to bolster that lineup, maybe even add a bullpen piece as we go. So I will see you in the next video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you'd like to follow along with the 2066 Kentucky Lions.